This is the CC Radio Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to Comic Confidential, the weekly show where we discuss our favorite things from popular culture. My name is Cade.
And my name is Troy. Thanks for joining us this week. It is all about our top TV shows that we think deserve the old comic book treatment. But before we get into that, there's a couple of things you guys can help do to support the show.
First thing you can do is leave us a 5-star review on iTunes saying all kinds of nice things, and you guys have been delivering lately.
You guys have been, so thanks for that. Keep it up. Keep it up is all I can say, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want a review that says, keep it up.
Yeah. If someone out there can just send a review, let's make it 5 stars, though.
Okay.
Let's put that caveat on there. 5-star review. Make it say whatever it is that I just said that I've already forgotten.
Wow.
What was that?
Keep it up.
Keep it up. It's been a long day.
3 words.
It's been a long day, all right, buddy.
Look,
It's been a long day.
Can someone say, are you sure it's not a goddamn long day, Troy?
It's not. It hasn't been a goddamn long day.
If someone could put in a review teasing Troy about his goddams again.
Again, no, we've had that, and I do appreciate it. Thanks for calling me out.
I love it.
Also been called out on Twitter. I'm assuming it's the same person.
I don't know.
If it's two different... If it's two different people, goddamn you both.
Look, and you're getting flack from like every one of our Patreon supporters as well.
Look, here's what I'm trying to do. All right, I'm trying to create a catchphrase.
Oh, okay.
It might not be a good one,
but I'm trying.
But God damn it, I'm trying. Yeah, put it on a shirt, mate.
Okay.
Put it on friggin' Redbubble. Would
Really?
You?
Yeah.
Yep.
How about I get a picture of a dam, and then I just superimpose God's face on it?
Yeah. Just no. What's God's face? Make it Jesus.
Okay.
I guess. It's like Jesus, and then it's a dam.
Yeah.
And people can figure it out from there. God, no, not going to do it. Another thing you can do is you can visit patreon.com/ComicConPod, and you can help support the show that way. You get yourself access to a whole bunch of cool stuff, like extra episodes and stuff like that we do weekly and whatnot.
That's right. Actually, we're going to have potentially next week is when we release another episode of Netflix and Chat, where we're going to review Bird Box.
Bird Box. Now, it is older. It's an older movie.
Who cares? It's not that old.
It's not that old, but we are doing, unless you want to change it.
To what?
We could change it right now live on air.
Oh, that's so risky.
Well, I know you haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So it's not risky at all. We should do Polar.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a little bit more,
polarizing.
Polarizing.
And, in the
And
United
it is,
States,
trust me.
United States is like frozen over now, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways you could do it. And polar bears are cute.
Wow.
Right? Good times.
And look, the final thing you can do is join our listener community on Facebook. So simply jump on there, do the old Facebook search Rooney on the Comic Confidential listener community, and you will find us.
We're there.
We're there.
We're there all the time.
Literally nowhere else.
And a whole bunch of other people as well. So jump on there and get involved. That is where we get most of our feedback from the show, or for the show, I should say. So jump on that. Do it. Be a part of it.
It's good fun.
It is good fun.
Now, Troy, this week's topic is TV shows that deserve their own comic series. Now, that's a bit of a tongue twister or a mind twister, because people are probably going, didn't you guys do something like this just recently?
They might be thinking that, and the answer is no.
We're playing with you.
We are. We actually did comic books that we wanted to see into TV shows, turned into TV shows. It's the flip.
Yeah.
It's the flip side of it, my friend. This week we're going to look at some of our favorite TV shows, and we're going to decide which ones should be continued with their own comic run. Now, maybe the show, I don't know how you've picked your list, we'll talk about that in a sec, but maybe the show has ended already. Maybe it was cancelled too early. Maybe it's a show that's still running, but there's plenty of room for other stories and stuff like that. Yeah, did you think of that?
I did not.
Excellent. But before we get into any of that, did you have any parameters going into it when you're making your list?
Yeah, so essentially the TV show had to have essentially a storyline or a plot point that I felt like could have been continued.
Right.
Something that wasn't really tied up in a nice little bow.
Okay.
Or something that could really just lend itself to being something that could be taken into a graphic novel, not necessarily a comic book series. It could be just a one-off. It could be something different like that.
Yep.
But yeah, something that the story can be continued.
Yeah, okay. That's similar to how I looked at it. I looked at it though at I did look at some current like running shows, those shows that are still going, that have the potential to kind of branch out with more stories. Some of the ones that I have picked have at some point though have had like a comic attached to it.
Okay, cool. Because we spoke before this, and you're like, how'd you go with your list? And I was like, man, I killed my list.
But there's some asterisks.
There's some asterisks. So we have the same asterisks.
Yeah, so it's actually really hard to find top quality shows that someone hasn't had like some sort of a stab at.
Yeah.
Pretty much everyone that I'm going to talk about, though, doesn't have a current comic book run or anything like that. And if they did have one, we're talking like a limited series run 30 years ago. Or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, this makes my list instantly so much easier.
Okay. Well, do you want to kick us off with something?
Yeah, okay. So the first TV show that I think should be adapted to a graphic novel, Troy.
A graphic novel?
A graphic novel.
Okay.
Is American Horror Story.
Okay.
Now, what's so cool about this is that you can do a graphic novel for each of these series because there's so many different avenues that American Horror Story has gone down.
Yeah.
Where you can kind of create the folklore for it because there's little bits of these series that kind of tie into each other.
Yeah.
But they don't really give you a lot because it might just be one integral, well, not even an integral character. It might just be one B-grade character that could potentially be part of another season.
Right.
It's never always confirmed. Sometimes it's like quite obvious.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, I wonder if that's Thingo from that season. So I think American Horror Story will do a really good job because they have fantastic characters all the way through their series.
Yep.
It's got that real dark horror vibe.
Yeah.
And it's just those type of tones that I really dig in a TV show.
Yeah, well, horror comics themselves are like kind of, they're quite popular. I like them myself. I get into some of them. And I think if you do it right, and like, I'll talk about, oh God, I'm going to lead us down a deep, dark well here, my friend. Outcast.
Oh, I just got shivers.
And not the good kind. Outcast was a really good comic. As far as like the horror elements and stuff like that, I really enjoyed it. Into a TV series, not so much. Like they got that one episode right, and the rest were just terrible. But if done right, horror comics are absolutely amazing. And I think American Horror Story, you're right, in a sense, has like they've got a lot of content. They've got a lot of little side stories that could, little side characters and stuff like that you could pick up on. And just within that universe itself, you could just bring out however much more you wanted.
Yeah, definitely. Because in that world, there's like monsters, there's vampires, there's witches. It's like, and everything's kind of canon.
Yeah. Now, I've only ever seen the first 2 seasons of American Horror Story. So is it all set within the same universe?
Yeah, there's things that lead you to believe that it is.
Right.
There's definitely characters that cross over throughout the seasons.
Yep.
Because
I know there's actors that definitely do.
They all do.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the same actors generally in every season.
Right.
Or a majority of them anyway.
Yeah.
And, sometimes they'll cross over just a little bit.
Yep.
And it might not be until like, I think it was like season 6 crossover with season 3. So it's not like the seasons go back to back where they match up.
Right.
So it's all over the place.
Yeah, okay. I like it. That's a good choice, my friend. Good choice.
Thank you. What is your one?
So I'm going to take you way back to the 90s.
Oh, okay.
So you might not even know what this is. It's a TV show called Sliders. Do you remember Sliders?
Oh, this is ringing a bell.
Oh man, it's just going to be me then. So Sliders was, Jerry O'Connell.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he was in Sliders. He was like Quinn Mallory or whatever his name is. He was like the main guy. Anyway, so basically, what Sliders are or is or was as a TV show was it was this group of people that were joined through this. Essentially like this kids experiment and stuff like that. So what they do is they actually slide through, I'm going to call them boom tubes, even though they're not exactly
Yeah,
boom
it was
tubes.
like portals, weren't
Yeah,
they?
sort of, yeah. So they essentially slide through these portals into parallel universes. And when they get to the parallel universes, they're trapped there for a certain amount of time. And they don't know how much time when they get there, but they have like a little slider clock that kind of counts down to when the next portal's going to open.
Okay.
But a couple of things. They never know how much time it's going to be, and they never know where they're going next. So the whole point is them trying to get back to their kind of like prime Earth.
Yep.
Or Earth Prime, whatever you want to call it. So with this, they kind of, you know, like they might get there and they'll be like, oh, well, we've got like 4 days before like our next slide. Oh, here's this thing that's attacking us now. And now we've got to go on this adventure for whatever reason.
Yeah, right.
And then, oh no, we're not going to make it back to the to the sliding machine in time or whatever it is. But they always do.
It looks very 90s.
Oh, you're looking it up?
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
yeah. It's so 90s, man. It is so 90s. But thinking about it as a comic book,
Can I just say Jerry O'Connell has not aged a single day?
oh, he's still a good-looking kid.
Damn.
He's a good-looking rooster. He looks exactly the same as he does, pretty much.
Yeah.
Maybe just slightly more mature.
Maybe.
just.
He's
a
got
little
like a little beard now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
that'll do it. Yeah. But thinking about this as a comic book, it opens up all sorts of possibilities. And I know, you know, obviously, we've already got the multiverse and all that sort of stuff happening within like Marvel and DC. They've got their own and all that sort of stuff, right? But with this, it just opens up the possibility for them to just go to any kind of Earth anywhere and just continue on their adventures.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think it's really cool. I think the clock is a good addition to, like they might get to a place and they've got 9 seconds before they need to like slide again.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So I think if you keep it with its 90s aesthetic,
Yeah.
yeah, and then create that into a comic book, like a monthly or bi-weekly series or whatever, I think it'd be tops. Did have it had a 10-issue run back in 1996.
Okay.
But it kind of, like, as a lot of these do, they kind of played into the episodes that had already happened.
Yeah, okay.
So not really kind of branching out into any new stories or any new territories. Make the main character look exactly like Jerry O'Connell.
Just get Jerry O'Connell.
Well, it's a comic book.
Yeah, just get him
To model it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I think if you use Jerry O'Connell's likeness, you're set.
Nice.
Nice.
I like that.
All right.
Good pick.
What do you got?
All right, the next one I'm gonna stick in the horror realm.
Okay.
Hannibal.
Okay.
Because Hannibal, and this is going to be a slight spoiler for what happened in Hannibal, the TV show.
Okay, if you haven't seen it, it's like
Yeah.
been off the air for like
100 years.
5 Kardashian seasons.
Yeah. Now, the way that ended really leaves a big open gap if you're trying to connect the TV series to what happens in the movies.
Yeah.
I want to see what happens in between there.
Right.
Because he goes batshit crazy. Because in Hannibal, you see he's already starting to kind of chop people up, starting to eat them.
Oh, right from the start.
Yeah, right
He's
from the
just
start.
eating people's legs.
Yeah, it's
Like
amazing.
as a roast. It looks so good. I don't want to be weird,
But it does.
but it looks so good.
How do they make everything in that show so delicious looking?
It is
Because
one
it's-
of the most stylish shows I've seen in a long time.
It's like so beautifully shot.
Yeah.
And that could just lend itself to, fantastic comic artwork all the way through because of that.
Yeah, and I think like done as a maybe more like a big, thick, serious like graphic novel or something like that.
Absolutely. Something like a Watchmen style thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Because there's a lot of story, there's a lot of years that you've got to cover in there.
yeah, exactly. And it doesn't all have to be like, action and capes and superheroes and all that sort of stuff. Like sometimes the stories can be like a little bit more reserved and grounded, and sometimes it's just a guy in a kitchen cooking up a leg.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And the beauty of that could be like, that could always be like one of the reveals is like he's just casually talking to someone.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, okay, maybe he's taken the top off their head.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah.
cooking their brain.
Yeah, it's good.
So good.
I like that. That's really good. I think, again, Mads Mikkelsen
Has to be in it.
It has to be in it. Yeah, like
Yeah.
you've got to keep the likeness. Mads Mikkelsen is great.
He's amazing.
We're going to talk about Polar next week.
Make sure you're what level of Patreon do you have to be? So it's a high one for that one, isn't it?
It's the $5 level.
Is that a $5?
Yeah, it's a $5.
Okay.
$5 dues. So yeah, go see Polar and whatever. But my point is more. Sometimes Mads Mikkelsen can make a turd seem great. Sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. Cool. Hannibal,
Fair.
you done?
Yeah.
Nothing else you want to say?
Look, I don't really want to spoil too much of what happens in Hannibal because it's such a fantastic show. And if I say anything and you haven't seen it and you want to go check it out, I don't want to spoil it. Go treat yourself. There's only 3 seasons. I'm pretty sure there are only 13 episode seasons.
Yeah.
And mate,
Yeah, I think so.
it's some of the best TV you'll see. And you'll see that and you'll go, damn, that make a good comic book.
You know what? I saw this on like it's got one of those like fandom wire sites or something like that. And it's like, what is the most overrated TV show? And they had an image from Hannibal.
Are you kidding?
And I'm like, are you serious?
Have they even watched
Do you
it?
think that TV show's overrated? You're overrated.
Fuck this
You and
article.
your stupid article and your stupid site.
Damn.
And your dog.
Wow.
Yeah.
They probably have a shit dog.
It's highly likely they're
Yeah.
dog shit. I'm going to go an obvious route.
Okay.
Right, because this TV show was designed to look like a comic book to the point that the seasons were called volumes,
Oh,
et cetera,
okay.
et cetera. And I am so surprised that there hasn't been a comic book about this, even though there sort of has, but I'll get to that. It's Heroes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there not a comic about this?
Okay, so here's the thing. Each week, they released like a graphic novel, and I'm doing that in bunny ears, online as a webcomic that went in line with the episode and kind of gave people a little bit more backstory
That doesn't
about that
count.
episode. But that doesn't count,
Not
in
at
my
all.
opinion.
No.
And it only lasted, like, there were 24 issues. Oh, no, it wasn't even 24 issues, I don't think. But I don't think it counts. So I'm leaving it in because I think this needs to be like a proper series. You've already got well-established characters with powers.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You've got, for at least 1 or 2 seasons, a really interesting backstory that, you know, unfortunately doesn't end up where we want it to end up. But they do enough good things with it that you could expand on it. And not only that, you've got the entire world that is untouched. It's not just this small group of people that have these powers. It is, you know, effectively people throughout the world.
Okay, because see, I never actually watched Heroes, the TV show. Like, I just couldn't get into it.
Oh, man. Season 1 and most of Season 2, I'll say Season 2, were really good.
Yep.
And then Season 3 and 4 and the reboot or rehash or... It
Yeah,
wasn't
what-
a reboot. It was like...
It
It was
was-
almost like doing Season 5.
Yeah, right.
Sort of, because they had a lot of the same characters. They also dropped a lot of the characters. Not good. Not good at all.
Yeah, right.
And I think because it started off so promising and it ended up so shit, I think it's very much a like a Lost kind of scenario
Yeah.
where they just kind of just wrote themselves into a corner.
Yeah, yeah.
Where they couldn't really escape from, and then it's like, hey, everything's
Everyone-
purgatory or whatever.
Everyone's
it is.
dead.
Yeah.
And it's like, fuck you, Lost.
Yeah, spoilers for Lost, by the way. But I think with this, there's so much, like, there's such a big world in there that you could really kind of, like, expand on it. But yeah, why not keep some of those main characters around?
I like that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Heroes was like worldwide. I knew it was because there's obviously characters from different countries.
Yeah. So
But
that's worldwide. That's,
yeah, exactly.
That's what,
It's Mr. 305.
it's basically just Pitbull.
Yeah.
And he's got superpowers.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was just a couple of individuals. Like there was only a select amount of people that got these powers.
Oh, look, it's not every person on the planet
Well,
or
I
anything like
understand
that.
that,
But yeah,
yeah.
there is a lot more than they're kind of alluding to.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's not just something that only 20 people in the world have been affected or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's so much more than that.
Ah.
Yeah. And I think when you've got the framework right there. You've got something that's already stylized to be a comic book. You've got people with superpowers, you know what I mean?
Are their superpowers good enough? Not that
yeah.
you need like super great superpowers for like a comic book, because I read plenty of comic books where people don't even have fucking powers.
Well, there's people that can there's people that can fly.
Yeah.
There's people that can basically mooch other people's powers.
Oh, okay.
And take them for a while.
That's
or
pretty
forever.
cool.
There's people that essentially are invulnerable.
Yeah.
All sorts of things. There's mind readers. I think there's shapeshifters and stuff like that. So it's kind of everything.
Yeah, okay.
So I think it's really it's something that you could really sort of expand
Ah,
on.
nice.
Yeah.
I might have to check that TV show out.
Look, don't go too far down the well.
Yeah, okay.
Because you will be bitterly disappointed
So
at
don't
what's at the bottom.
Don't put your heart and soul into it.
Look, if you just want to watch a good couple of standalone seasons, watch season 1 and 2, and then I'll basically tell you what happens.
Yeah, okay.
And you don't ever have to watch it.
Fair enough.
Okay, cool. What's yours?
Okay, this one will come as no surprise, and it's The X-Files.
Okay.
Now, The X-Files is almost a comic book TV show.
Well, doesn't the X-Files have a comic book?
It did. It had a run of 41 comics that ran from 1995 to 1998.
Ooh, that's a lot of comics.
I don't think it is a lot of comics.
I will give you the fact that it's a good 20 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago, Troy.
Are you sure they're not doing comics now?
Yes.
Okay.
Checked it. Double checked it. I was like, because I
Research, baby.
Yeah, I researched. I use the internet. I don't want to brag, but,
Yeah.
you know.
I've heard about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I jumped on there. So, the X-Files. I mean, X-Files kind of invented the whole Freak of the Week type of thing, and we spoke about a little bit of that in last week's show when we're kind of comparing Smallville and Arrowverse.
Yeah.
People liked that episode, by the way.
Did they? Well, good for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone's a winner,
Absolutely.
except for, I guess, Arrowverse, because I chose.
And the opposite.
Yeah.
And Smallville.
Yeah, everyone's a loser then.
Yeah.
God damn it. But yeah, X-Files. Freak of the Week can work really, really well into just little offshoot comics that people can just binge.
Yeah.
And then you can still have an overarching story if you, if you have a talented writer that can actually do that, because comics are really hard to get a big story in if you're trying to do little stories all the way through.
Yeah. What about if you were to do it without it following Mulder and Scully?
I would still dig that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it was like 2 new agents
Yes.
that joined Team X-Files or whatever it's called, I don't know.
Well, that actually happened in the most recent season of The X-Files.
Okay.
Robbie Amell was an agent in it.
Yeah, okay.
And he was fantastic in it, and it was really good because
How many times did he take his shirt off?
I think 0 times.
Oh, that's a waste.
Yeah, I know. So I need a comic book of him just constantly just
shirtless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I want. But give me a young Mulder. Give me like a Mulder Origins.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, that's a great idea.
There you go.
Give me Mulder Origins.
Yeah.
And then I want to see why he's so fascinated with the paranormal, the unknown, things like that.
Yeah, okay.
I want to see what happened that got him intrigued.
Yeah, I don't mind the idea of a like a Mulder origin story, and it's just like some 10-year-old kid or something.
Yeah.
Well, you follow. Well, we'll make him 10.
Okay.
We'll make him 10, and then he can grow up through the comics or whatever. I don't care. But yeah, like a younger Mulder, kind of working his way into like figuring out this whole thing. We'll get a bit more of his backstory.
Yeah.
And it can really open up, because I didn't watch a lot of X-Files, but I kind of feel like he was kind of like a bit of a like you just didn't know a lot about him. Like it was a bit of a mystery.
Yeah,
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because he's just kind of a spook that's in the FBI, and he always just worked down in the X-Files on his own.
His real name's not even Mulder.
Well, see, Troy, that could be the case because we don't. Well, I can say who his dad is, but I don't want to.
Oh, okay. One of those guys, eh?
Yeah.
It's like, I've got all the secrets.
Well, the most recent season of the X-Files isn't overly old. Some people might not even realize it's out.
Yeah, okay.
So
That's fair.
I don't want to spoil what happens in there because it's like a massive thing of Mulder's past.
So that's
there.
obviously where they give it up in that season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you find out a little bit more about Mulder's past, but you don't find out enough.
Right.
Because you only find out one key thing. You don't find out who he is as the person.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So yeah, it could be completely sort of, just kind of really digging into his past and really opening it up. I like that. That's good.
Yeah.
You got good ideas, kid. You're going to go places.
You got it, buddy.
I'm going to take you back even further than Sliders. So this is going to be fun.
Okay.
Because I don't even know if you'll know. Did you ever watch the show, or do you know of the show, Quantum Leap?
I've heard of it.
Right. So
Only because when I Googled Sliders,
Quantum Leap came up.
Yes.
Yeah, because they're very similar, but kind of different.
Okay.
Because how it works is, so the whole Quantum Leap thing is Scott Bakula's character, he effectively travels through time, right? It's not as simple as that, but he effectively travels through time, and as he does so, whenever he goes to a different time frame, he takes the place of of another person. So you're not actually looking at Scott Bakula anymore. Like, he is like a completely different character.
God damn it, Troy. I just Googled this show. It is old as shit.
It's old as shit.
1989.
Yeah, but it was so good. And the idea was effectively that he goes around thinking that because he's kind of stuck in time, right? And he can't make it back to his own point in time.
Is he from the future or is he from the past?
He's from his own time point.
So it's like...
So he is where he is.
Okay.
Right. And then so initially he, I think he jumps back in time
Okay.
for the first jump.
Oh,
the first
okay. So
quantum leap.
each thing is him going to a different time period.
Correct.
Okay.
So effectively what he needs to do is he kind of needs to like fix up mistakes in whatever time period he's in.
Yeah.
And that helps to trigger like the next leap. So that's the only way he can
Okay.
kind of leap either forward or back. He can't actually control his leaps, but he's trying to figure out a way to get home.
Right.
Effectively.
Yeah, yeah.
And each time he's kind of either, he's a different person or he's interacting with a like a different person from history or something like that. But I guess the biggest thing is when like the coolest thing about it is when he did it, like it wouldn't be him. So you'd be seeing Scott Bakula, but then he'd look in the mirror and it'd be a completely different person.
Ah, okay.
And that's what everybody else was seeing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I remember, I don't remember this, but in doing some research, it came up in regards to like he jumped in the body of a Vietnam vet who had lost his legs. So he still remains in full control of his body, so he can still walk even though the Vietnam vet can't.
Ah.
So what happens is people see the Vietnam vet kind of floating.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of weird.
That is weird.
Yeah. But I think, again, with being able to go through different periods in time and interact with different sort of, historical figures and all that sort of stuff and the constant sort of endless opportunities that come with time travel, it's just there's so much more in there that we could get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This reminds me, this is something that was on my list and I took it off, but now I'm going to bring it back on.
Right.
And it's something that will probably go very closely hand in hand with that TV show. And that's The Pretender.
The Pretender. I don't know the show.
Okay,
I saw someone in the listener feedback mention it, I think.
Oh, okay. I love The Pretender. It was like one of my favorite shows when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And essentially, it follows a story of a guy, and he's basically, they call him a pretender. He's like part of this organization.
Yeah.
And he's basically able to, they're all geniuses.
Right.
And they basically imposter anyone, and they're able to learn the integral skills to become that person.
Right.
So they'll infiltrate, let's say, the Pentagon.
Yeah.
And he'll be able to get in and say, look, I'm a super key engineer. So blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He does what he needs to, learns those skills, and then he's in the building pretending to be the person.
Does he have to take on the look of a person, or does he stay as himself the whole time?
From memory, he just stays himself.
Who's the main guy? Can you remember?
Oh.
Or can you Google it for me?
Michael Terry Weiss?
No.
Yeah.
I'll look it up later.
Yeah.
I'll have a look. Like, the show is familiar, but I don't remember it.
Yeah, look, it didn't really run for a long time. It ran for 4 seasons, but it was pretty cool for what it was.
Yeah, okay.
And it's pretty much goes hand in hand. It's probably not as cool because he doesn't do time travel.
Yeah.
But he does have the ability to just go into anywhere he wants and be anyone he wants to be.
Yeah, well, that's cool. And that's kind of like, that's a very sort of timeless setting. Like, that's almost like a, like an Ethan Huntish type, kind of character that can kind of do anything and be anybody and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it could really fit in to a really good like action comic or something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like we're kind of getting like little themes. First we started off horror.
Yeah.
And now we're like into like a little bit of espionage.
Espionage. Well, I'm going to take us somewhere completely different.
Ooh.
I'm going to take us to the land of Westeros for Game of Thrones, baby.
Oh, gross. Why would anyone want a comic of this?
Now, here's the thing. There has been a comic of this.
Really?
And it lasted for 24 issues. But, again, insofar as the Heroes comics were kind of like went hand in hand with the episodes, the Game of Thrones comics were kind of almost like add-ons to the current story that was already happening. So it's just like the story we've already seen, but in comic book form.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Kind of.
So it's kind of like with Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms and all that sort of stuff. And I know you're falling asleep already because you hate Game of Thrones. There's just so much to it, and there's so much history, that there's like a much, much, much bigger world that you could tell stories from.
Okay.
And I think this kind of stuff with, when you've got things like, you've got giants and White Walkers and you've got dragons and you've got everything. You know what I mean? You've got like big battles and little hand-to-hand combat-y sorts of things, and you've got kings and wars and all this sort of stuff. That would make for a really, really exciting comic. Probably more so than the show at times. But I do love Game of Thrones. But yeah, so I think you don't necessarily need to follow the characters that have already been followed in the books so much and the TV show.
Okay.
I think you can branch off heaps, and you can just tell all these other little side stories in comic book format, and I think it would be amazing. Yeah.
Well, guess what, Troy?
What?
I'm going to match you and meet you in the same realm.
Oh, no, you're not.
Kind of. It's half medieval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tickling your fancy?
Sort of.
And it's going to throw you because
it's coming from you, so I don't actually know where this is going at all.
Look, it's also a cartoon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Is it? Don't tell me. No, I don't know.
It's Gargoyles.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Gargoyles was a, animated TV show. It ran way back. Way back.
It was like
1994.
Yeah.
So it ran from 1994 to 1997. Disney produced. It was incredibly dark. Way ahead of its time for what Disney was kind of making at that time, for what anyone was making at that time.
Yeah.
It was like an adult version of like Saturday morning cartoons.
Right.
And I loved Gargoyles.
I loved Gargoyles too.
There was just something so fucking rad about these massive creatures that were like living up on Gotham-inspired types of churches and things like that, buildings. And then they just come to life, Troy. And then they turn to stone again.
During the day?
During the day.
What was the main guy's name? Can you remember that?
Purple guy.
Purple guy. Yeah, purple gargoyle guy. I do have fond memories of that show. Not enough to remember the purple guy's name.
Goliath.
And they never did a comic? They never.
You know what? They did do a comic. It went from 2006 to 2009 and had 12 issues in that time.
Wow.
So...
What is this, some sort of British TV show?
It must have been. But yeah, but what was cool about the comic, I've never read it, but apparently it followed on directly from the ending of Gargoyles.
Okay.
So at least they did that right. But it would be so cool to see this done properly in a really gory format. Because gargoyles are these terrifying creatures. They're like literally monsters of the night.
Yeah, right.
And they're very mythological.
It'll look good.
It'll look fantastic.
Yeah. And I think, like, if I remember, like, and you kind of touched on it a little bit before, like, the story it's like a kid's cartoon. It was kind of a little bit more dark for its time and a little bit more, I don't want to say adult, but, like, it just kind of had more adult themes, maybe.
It did. Some of the gargoyles are, like, pretty hot for gargoyles.
I remember that one gargoyle. Yep. What's the main female one? Was it her?
There's Angela.
I don't want to talk about it because it's weird.
Yeah, I think it's Angela.
It's like kind of saying, oh, remember that Thundercats lady?
Oh.
She was hot.
Man, how disgusting. Like sometimes the 80s/90s cartoons just overly sexualized things, didn't they?
Oh, absolutely. But
Thundercats were the worst for it.
Thundercats were pretty bad.
Yeah.
But they kind of helped shape the men that we are today.
Disgusting. Disgusting creatures. Just ask Gillette.
Oh, don't don't start. What do you want to do? You want to do one more?
Oh, okay. Let me have a look. Okay.
I got one more.
You got one more?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to finish on a good one.
Okay. I would hope so.
It's going to be different, though.
Okay.
I want you to impress me.
Okay. I'm going to finish on a medium one.
Oh, okay. I saved my best for not last.
I kind of like blew it with the Game of Thrones thing. I could have saved that for last.
Okay.
But what I am going to talk about is Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this will be a pretty cool comic.
Yeah, so I'm taking us back to horror realms, and before any of you people yell at me,
It's not a horror.
no, it is a horror, but there's already a comic currently running and has run for a long time.
Troy, this is breaking.
It's not,
Okay.
because that is the Army of Darkness comic. Now,
And he's just a character in it.
well, it's all based around that, like the Army of Darkness kind of world, right? Ash vs. Evil Dead as a TV show was made as a sequel to Army of Darkness, the movie.
Okay.
Right? And it's set 30 years later. So there are no comics of 30-year-older Ash
Yeah.
that is kind of just working in like a hardware store or wherever he was working. And sitting around and kind of not having done anything with his life.
Yep.
After he went back to medieval times and fought the
Okay.
undead and all that sort of stuff. So effectively, you've just got Ash, who's just a bum now.
Yep.
Who's just sitting around drinking beer, kind of womanizing and all this sort of stuff, and just living in a trailer. But then has to come out of that and become a hero again. And he does that with like a couple of characters, Pablo and Kelly.
Yep.
They join him and all that sort of stuff. So I think if you followed this Ash vs. Evil Dead route and followed older Ash, who's kind of just bumbling through life and finally getting his shot at redemption and being a hero and all that sort of stuff, even though he's a reluctant hero at times, I think this would be a really good story to continue with.
Yeah, okay.
Army of Darkness has done its thing. It's like a good comic. Haven't read all of them. There's like 1,000 of them. But this particular story is the one that I think they should kick off with.
How would you feel if there was like a ridiculous crossover with Ash vs. Evil Dead and The Walking Dead? Ash vs. The Walking Dead.
Ash vs. The Walking Dead.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Oh.
Like one-arm Rick going up against no
Yeah.
arm.
Versus like Chainsaw. Yeah, I like it.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Somebody make that happen.
That's so good.
There's your comic. You've got Old Man Ash.
Yeah.
30 years later.
Old Man Rick.
But who are the villains in the sense of, are they zombies or is it the Evil Dead?
Oh.
Or maybe it's just both.
Yeah, maybe it's both.
Somehow worlds collide.
Yeah.
Now it's not just a zombie apocalypse. It's a zombie and an undead apocalypse. And it's goddamn Ash and Kelly and Pablo versus Rick and Michonne and not Carl because he's dead. And whoever else is in that.
Well, I guess if you go comic book world, it's a little bit different, but yeah.
It is different.
Yeah.
Carl's still alive.
Yeah.
So those three then.
Yeah, I
those
like
three
that.
versus those other three. Yeah, I like that. But then they have to come together
Yes.
to take on the main threat.
They have to. Yeah. Well, how about they take on? I don't know.
What if like somehow worlds collide and Negan steals the Book of the Dead
Yeah.
in order to, something like that?
Yeah, I
And
like
then-
that. Yeah, I like
cool,
that.
cool,
That's
cool,
good.
cool. All right.
Yeah, we pieced it together. Best
Sweet.
comic ever.
Absolutely. What's your last one?
Okay, my last one is a comic based off The Office.
Okay.
Yeah, now you're like, Kate, how are you going to make this work?
How are you going to make this work? Also, it's probably super racist.
I don't think so. So, it has to be based around Dwight
Right.
because Dwight he's like the hero of The Office.
Sure.
And I feel like Garfield's time of newspaper strips comics is over.
Okay. So you're seeing like a Dilbert-esque
Yes.
kind of, but it's Dwight in an office setting comic strip.
Yes.
Right.
And you get a new one every day.
And it's like the Phantom, where you've got to piece together 40 years of newspapers to get one comic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what I want.
Okay. That's interesting.
Because like Dwight is known for Dwight is more famous as a character in The Office for his little tidbits.
Right.
With Jim or something like that.
Yeah.
It's like his Beats Bears Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Like he's known for things like that. And he's known for the Beats Farm. I want to see him like trying to make something out of beats or something like that. You know, he might hate Tuesdays, put a spin on it.
Ooh,
Mondays are old, baby.
Mondays, that's old news.
Yeah.
That's your RDO sometimes.
Yeah, that's right.
No one hates Mondays. Yeah.
Mondays are good.
Yeah, okay. I like that. It definitely, you're putting a good spin on it with it being like a newspaper.
Yeah, because, I mean, there's no way you could do an actual comic book out of it, but a comic strip,
Yeah.
man, that's why that's good shit with him.
It's like, it's Phantom, it's BC, it's Garfield, it's Family Circus, and it's Dwight.
Yeah, just call it, it doesn't even need to say The Office, just call it Dwight.
Maybe you could just call it like Shroot.
Oh, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, that's good.
I think we've come up with fantastic comics. Every single one has been an absolute winner, Troy.
Absolutely, they have. We also went to the people in the Facebook listener community, and we got some feedback from them.
It's the only place we get our feedback from, Troy.
It is the only place. What did we ask them this week, Cade? We asked them... I'll tell you. Just throw your hands up at me. We asked them, what is one TV show that you think should be continued in comic form? Some of these shows I haven't heard of.
Okay. Now,
some have.
We're going to do what we usually do, and I'm going to tell her if it's a hit, split, or shit idea.
Okay. Luke Alexander has 2.
Ooh.
He says, you can do that.
Okay.
I'll allow it. Married with Children.
Shit.
Entourage.
Split.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris Sutherland says Almost Human. Do you know what that show is?
That sounds familiar.
Almost Human.
Almost Human. I'm giving it a quick Google.
Yeah.
Almost Human is an American science fiction / crime drama. Okay, it doesn't really tell me anything.
All right, cool. Almost Human, never heard of it. But he does say, what the fuck was beyond that wall? So that's obviously a cliffhanger for Almost Human.
Spoilers, I guess. Look, I'm going to say shit.
Oh, that's harsh.
I don't know it, so
Okay.
I can't judge it.
All right, fair. Michael French says he's got 4, but I'm allowing it. Roswell. Not bad.
Hit.
Yep.
That's a hit.
The Secret Life of Alex Mack.
Yes, that was on my honorable mentions.
Really?
Yeah, I loved that show when I was a kid, man. You know, turned into like
All right,
little
calm
liquid.
down.
Nah, man. Nickelodeon.
Animorphs.
Yes.
And The Pretender.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
There you go.
All hits from him.
All hits. Excellent. Stephen Kroon says Seinfeld. I want to see a Costanza-led jailbreak attempt. So he wants it to continue on from the end of the series.
Okay, Seinfeld is also a newspaper strip article.
Ooh.
Newspaper, like, it could be like, hey, what's up with newspaper article?
What's the deal with...
Yeah.
All right. Okay, whatever.
And it's like just one bad joke.
Yeah.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like Seinfeld.
Like Seinfeld.
Yeah. Joey
that's a hit.
Is that a hit? All right. Joey DiCarlo says Battlestar Galactica. That's a hit.
That's a big hit.
I didn't know if they actually had done like a comic series of that.
I thought they had.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But if they had, maybe it's finished and he wants it back.
If only there was a machine right in front of me that would tell me this information.
If only. You've used your Google.
I've used 8.
That's all. Okay.
I've been saving them up.
You've used the next 8 weeks Googles as well. Battlestar Galactica, that's a hit.
Yeah.
Luke Alexander, he's come back. He says Drawn Together. Do you remember that cartoon?
Oh,
it was on like
that was
Adult
a super racist cartoon.
Was it racist?
It was quite racist.
Or racy?
Both.
Okay. I don't really remember it that well because I was never like an Adult Swim kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to watch it a lot, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I was like, I don't know if this would fly.
Well, it wouldn't fly now.
No.
Just like The Office wouldn't fly now.
The Office was not racist, mate.
It was sexist and it was... I love it, don't get me wrong, but it's from a different time.
It's like from 5 years ago.
That was a different time. Daniel Rowland says Veronica Mars. That's a hit. Don't you dare say anything else.
I never watched Veronica Mars.
Haven't you?
No.
It's on, I think it's on Stan.
Okay.
Get yourself some Veronica Mars action. And they brought out the movie. Maybe it's Netflix, actually. Either way, it's on one of them.
I did see it just recently somewhere.
Yeah. So check it out. Really cool. And if they continued it on with like, it's just like a,
Isn't she like 40 years old now?
She's like 36.
40.
She's close to 40. But it's a comic. So, so it doesn't matter. You can just make her a high school kid still.
I guess.
God. Do you know how comics work?
I'm split on that.
Fine. You could be split on that. Jared Noakes says Ash vs. Evil Dead. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, that's a hit, baby.
That's a hit. Stephen Kroon's come back, and he says The Sopranos done by Ed Brubaker and Phillips, which I'm pretty sure is obviously Ed Brubaker, and I think it's Sean Phillips. They did a comic called Criminal together, which is very much in the vein of like a Sopranos. So that could work.
I'm split. I wasn't a Sopranos fan.
Well, you kind of need to find out what happened at the end.
I don't care.
Did he die or did he not?
No, it just went to black, Troy.
Okay. Daniel Rollins has come back on here, and he said, I'd also really like an ongoing Archer comic.
Yes, I fucking love Archer.
Yeah, that's
Archer
good.
would work great as a comic. I mean, it's essentially
Don't say
a comic that
strip.
moves.
Are you going to say?
No,
I thought you were going to say
as
a
a
comic strip
comic,
again.
no.
Okay.
Except it's basically a comic that's come to life.
Yeah.
Because
Look,
the artwork looks exactly off the page of a book.
yeah, true. Look, I think it's good. I think it's a really good idea. That's a hit from me.
Yep.
Not that it's me judging them. Ken Nain says, Heroes.
Split.
Fuck off. That was my choice. It's a hit. Hamish Campbell Oates has put an image of Bruce Campbell on there, and I don't know what it's from, and I feel terrible.
Show me.
Do you know what that... Because it's like a younger Bruce Campbell. So what is that?
I don't know.
What are you going to look up? Young Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell with dynamite.
That's it. If it comes up, like the internet, it astounds me. Is it there?
Yes, it's Army of Darkness, number 21.
Is it?
Yep.
I don't remember that scene in particular at all. Army of Darkness. I'm going to say you got to go with Ash vs. Evil Dead because Army of Darkness already has a comic. Chris Vera says Quantum Leap.
There you
So
go.
take that. Peter Bauer says Firefly. Now, I know this is what he says. Okay. I know there's been some comics, but this is a universe that could have dozens of arcs in comic form. And he's right. It was an honorable mention for me, except they have a current comic run right now that's only 4 issues in.
Oh, okay. Like, you cannot mention that then.
So, yeah. So check it out.
Peter, you banned.
Peter, you banned. Dana Lynn Richardson says Dark Angel.
Oh, yes.
That's a good.
That was a really good TV show too, man.
It gave the world Jessica Alba.
Oh, damn, that was so. And I remember that came out at the same time that I feel like Dark Angel was also a Nintendo 64 game.
Probably. Everything came out was a Nintendo 64 game. Was Dark Angel Joss Whedon?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, man, that was such a good show. And The Magicians, she says as well, which is a show I don't know, and a couple of people have mentioned, as I'll get to.
Huh.
Paul Prezula says Buffy and Angel. Oh, wait. Well, they've already got comics, mate. And I get 2 more.
2 more.
Adam Mueller or Miller. I don't know how you say your last name.
Sing
buddy.
it. It might sound better.
No. The Magicians would be great. And it would be nice for a comic series of Lost that would actually make some sense.
Yeah, I had Lost on my list.
Yep.
But because it was such a shit pile of a TV show,
Yeah.
you can't save it.
You kind of have to cancel it.
And then reboot it.
Well, at about season 3, and then take your comic and fix it up that way somehow. And Troy Ellington says Friday Night Lights or Heroes would be okay.
Who wants a Friday Night Light? That's the
I do.
That's shit.
Clear eyes, full hearts, can't lose, mate.
You Troys stick together.
Yeah, give me more Coach Eric Taylor. I'll take it. Mate, that's it.
That's it. We're done.
We are done for this week.
Make sure you're talking to the microphone, Troy.
Yeah, look, I'm all over the place, mate. I'm excited.
Friday Night Lights, and I'm
Friday
playing.
Night Lights.
My arms are going crazy.
It's all about full hearts, clear eyes, whatever it was. Clear eyes, full hearts, and then you can't lose, all right?
Really?
Yeah.
Is that what the team motto
Jason
was?
Street, baby.
Oh, God. Let's wrap this thing up.
Look, that is it. We will be back next week with another show. In the meantime, if you want access to previous episodes and the other fantastic shows on our network, head to our website. That's comicconpod.com.
Wrong.
Okay.
It's ccradio.com.au.
All right. So make sure you head to ccradio.com.au
where you can find
that.
Yeah, you can find all the other shows on our network there. It's really, really good.
Why does the end of the show always fall to pieces?
Because you got the wrong show notes, my friend. Anyway, thanks for listening. As always, I'm Cade.
And I'm Troy.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace. You, like, near the end here, you're just like willy-nilly talking like Out the door.
Mate, I'm just excited for like the possibility.
We're banning Friday Night Lights from this podcast.
Have you ever watched Friday Night Lights?
No.
Mate, then you don't get to comment.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Unless you've seen Tim Riggins in action on the field, winning it for the goddamn team that I can't remember. They're like the Panthers or something.
Did they ever win the...
They won them all.
Did they ever win the home run derby?
They didn't. But they won the whatever the thing is for like high school football in Texas.
Oh, okay.
They won that thing.
Ah.
Yeah. And it gave us Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, is he from there?
He was from the later seasons of that.
Oh, there you go.
So fucking there you go. There's a little behind the scenes trivia of Friday Night Lights.
Wow. So fucking cool.